short. My story is titled Sensuality Unleashed, okay? And it is also the tagline of my business, my sensuality business for Vida. Now, I decided that it was time to start a business to teach women in particular to fall in love with themselves. Coming out of my practice as a life and relationship coach, I recognized there was a common thread. A lot of my clients were and are still executive women, and I came to realize that a lot of them are suffering from something that I refer to as being sensually constipated. Yeah, I recognize that they were detached from themselves, yeah? And so all of their experiences, especially those experiences with their significant other, were strained, yeah? And they couldn't understand why, and of course it was the man who wasn't bringing it, who wasn't doing enough, this kind of a thing. They never really saw their role in it. And then I had another set of ladies who came in recognizing that, okay, all right, I have some deficiencies in this area, but I'm not really certain how to enhance myself. Okay, so I decided, okay, it's time to actually teach women how to pleasure themselves, how to become better lovers of themselves. And there is a tendency when we hear pleasure, we automatically think, okay, it must be in the realm of just sex. But when I say they were sensually constipated, I meant there were women who were suffering, gorgeous, beautiful women who were powerhouses. I mean, who were movers and shakers in business, in academia, all kinds of stuff, but were, again, detached from self, who were struggling, were riddled with body image issues, who can't tell when last they, were in love with themselves, who were looking for this validation outside of themselves, and hence, therefore, ended up putting a lot of weight on their partners to make them feel like somebody in the scheme of things. Because at the end of the day, some of them had more degrees than thermometers, but it did not help them feel accomplished. It did not help them feel at home in themselves. So I decided, okay, fine, I was going to put together a series of dance classes, sensual dance, to help the woman forget herself. I came to recognize that a lot of us have our sense of identity is as a result of the things that we do, the roles that we occupy. And so I am a lawyer, I'm a politician, right? I'm a mother. Hence, therefore, I act accordingly, not recognizing that these things are external to you. They aren't who you are. And so it was in a bid to have the woman come back home to herself, to find this essential part of her feminine in order to have herself be wholesome and independent of all the other things that she pulled onto herself, including her lover. So I started and nothing happened. Launched the business and nobody touched it. Nothing. So I decided the following year that I was going to do a series of free trials so people would finally come to recognize I could dispel the rumor that I was facilitating live sex, right? So I had lap dance classes, I taught fellatio classes, I taught masturbation, I taught just a variety of things. Conversations about falling in love with yourself. What do you do to move beyond the body image issues, some of which have been haunting us for years? And so over one entire year, I did this for free. And then in the following year, things caught a fire. The Observer got news of what it is that I was doing and carried a feature on me. And then afterwards, I was featured on television, and then the conversation started. And I figured to myself, all right, we're making some strides. Alas, that was not the case. It took another set of time before women actually started gravitating towards the business, because what I discovered was they were all tantalized, intrigued, and felt that there were different parts of their lives that this could be beneficial to, but were afraid of public opinion, because heaven forbid that we should learn to be lovers of ourselves. Heaven forbid that we should learn to be better lovers to our partners. Nobody teach us that. Nobody teaches that any at all. And I mean, historically, the woman's position is to be just a prop for her man, to pleasure her man, and you just kind of work with it, you know what I mean? But nobody told us that we were to expect pleasure. Yeah, and so it was strange, for them to actually come seeking this kind of assistance. But over a period of time, the business started to pick up and so on, and I kept on going because I felt that it was something that we in Jamaica need. The Caribbean woman needs this kind of stuff. And whilst I applaud her because she is strong, she is capable of taking care of family, she is making leaps and bounds in academia, she has, carved her name in management and in business and all of this good stuff. But empowerment is bigger than that. I watch this thing where everybody's preoccupied with being boss lady, but not recognizing that if it is that we have not touched base with our sensual or sexual side, then we are really, really and truly disconnected from who it is that we were intended to be. So it was working consistently that finally I got to a stage, long story short, got to a stage where people actually started coming out now to the workshops. Initially it started with privates, and then afterwards they started coming out to the workshops. Lap dance class full, workshops on sensuality and how it is that you can use sensual dancing to become a better lover. Start to full up nicely. People started to call me. It wasn't me now chasing them. People were now calling me to ask me to come and talk about seduction and why seduction is important to a woman, this kind of a thing. I was now hosting workshops on vagina workshops, again, because I discovered that we have these vaginas, but we are completely disconnected from them. We're not really certain what is happening under there, but we expect our lovers to pleasure us, but we are so disconnected from them. So it was teaching women about their bodies to, just to fall deeper in love with all of who it is that they were intended to be, just to get her back to a place that she could release trauma and be reminded of her God self, be reminded of her goddess. So I stand here tonight really, really proud, because I cannot begin to tell you how difficult it was navigating this kind of business in Jamaica, where everybody was telling me, my girl, you need to go off foreign. Them things that do well are foreign. People liberated and open-minded enough foreign. Nobody in Jamaica now come learn these things. But to stand here tonight and say that my business is actually now in demand, and people actually now see the relevance of something like this, and I'm so very grateful that I was courageous enough to step out and do this. I'm grateful for those other women who are courageous enough to come seeking my help in this regard. I am grateful for the couples who come, because I also now cater to couples. This whole idea of deepening the intimacy in the relationship, because there's lots of sex and very little intimacy. So teaching us these smaller aspects, yes, teaching us these smaller aspects, because most of us are running for the pipes and not recognizing that in order for us to connect, I must be able to stare you in the eye. I must be able to get vulnerable. And that is part of me being feminine. That's part of me embracing all of my goddess. So, long story short, Sensuality Unleashed is an essential part of your life as a woman. And I would strongly suggest, if you're already on that path, sensuality should not just be relegated to carnival time. You know what I mean? Where we're out in the road gyrating and, celebrating our bodies and all of this good stuff. It is something that we should do every day, because empowerment starts from within. It has absolutely nothing to do with the things, your accolades and all of this. I have worked with people who are, as I said, accomplished in the public eye, but are completely divorced from themselves. So I am grateful again, as I said, for this opportunity to do this kind of work, and very, very happy for the uptake in my country. Blessings.